he took the light bulbs when he moved out, like the Grinch. When I ran into him a few months after breaking up with him, I told him he needed to work on calmly and respectfully receiving feedback instead of getting angry and defensive. He received this feedback by interrupting me to snap, "I don't get defensive!" like an emotionally immature sleeper cell activated by irony. Then I watched in real time as the man's inaugural adult thought passed over his face like a rain cloud over a barbecue. And he said, "Oh, is that what you were talking about?" When forced to participate in household chores, which put a suffocating damper on his preferred lifestyle of playing video games and being a bitch, he would do one-shot tasks like taking the trash out so he could quickly return to what I'm sure every teacher since birth identified as potential, not wasted, but refused. Every single time, he would decline to bring his house key, telling me instead that if he wasn't back in a few minutes, he had locked himself out, so I would need to keep an eye on the clock and come get him. He could not be convinced to pack a key for his Odyssean trek to the alley, as he hoisted the trash bag over his shoulder like Pall Mall Santa and whined like a teapot. In a surprise only to himself and his brothers and rats in the alley, he repeatedly locked himself out, and it would be my responsibility to do the world's most galling countdown, like Times Square New Year's Eve if they dropped a baby on his skull instead, and retrieve his dumb keyless ass. If this was weaponized incompetence, dude was slinging nukes. And then, like a goo-brained moth succumbing to the intoxicating petulance of the call of the void, he would do it again. Eons of adaptive evolution choking to oblivion. Overflowing with excitement and pride, I rushed to him to share that I had just run 2 miles for the first time in my entire life. Without hesitation, he replied, "That's great and all, but if you want to look like the hot girls in the gym, you're going to have to start doing squats." He said he liked my nail color, so I chuckled and said, "Well, don't get too attached because I'm getting them done tomorrow." To which he blurted, "I'm not attached. Faster than bullets leave guns." This reflexive confession was psychologically illuminating. Who else in your life was not attached, James? Was her name Mommy? Every time he saw a man who was more muscular than him in public, which was not difficult, as he had the constitution of a stranded linguine, he would challenge them in arm wrestling. 100% of these men hated this so much. He, however, thought this was a very funny thing to do. But like the U-Haul to Florida after I dumped him, he was alone in this. To set the scene for our final tale, I dated my most recent ex-boyfriend non-monogamously for nearly a year. At the time of the following kerfuffle, I was going through a terrifying illness which had begun many months prior when I woke up one morning entirely unable to walk. I took medical leave from work. Diagnostics stretched on for months, hammering mortality into every corner of my consciousness. Each night I would plug in my phone in a defiant act of hope that I would be there in the morning to use it. That kind of terror changes a person. Will I know myself in oblivion? Or will I even be? Despairing, I cried bitter tears over the little losses of a life I never grasped was fleeting. I would never publish my book. I would never learn how to dunk. I would never publicly humiliate a pervert to the point of tears via karaoke again. For context, this clown groped my friend, so I hopped on the karaoke mic to eviscerate him by simply describing true facts about him. I then led the entire bar in chanting, "Shame! Shame!" with ample pointing until he cried. Smell you later, Hansi Patinkin. Also, to clarify, he was a clown in demeanor, not profession. As you can see, it would have been devastating for you all to lose me. But the bell tolled for me, and that bitch threw hands. I was eventually diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, or EDS, which would be only the beginning of my medical journey. It would be lifelong, but not life-ending, like Tom Selleck's mustache. I was very open with my ex about my fears that EDS made me too much to date, rendering me an irredeemable burden on the people around me. Because what is more symptomatic of patriarchal capitalism than to strangle your suffering into a shameful silence so no one has to be inconvenienced by your humanity? The following statement was volunteered by my ex at random, apropos of absolutely nothing. He just dropped it in my lap as a casual remark, like one might idly mention a cool hat one saw earlier. I will here remind you that we are polyamorous, so let's focus on the right outrage. I was swiping through Hinge last week, he said, and I saw a woman whose profile says she also has EDS. And I was like, ugh, never doing that again. So obviously I had to swipe left. Left is the bad one for all the people out there who know peace. Why would you tell me that? Gutting pain, or crushing pain gutted through my identity. The kind that hurts so profoundly you can't even look at it. It wasn't until the tears flooded my eyes that he realized he had beefed it. Backpedaled quickly. I hope you know, he said, that I am not the kind of person who would say something to hurt you. It was a mistake. I was making a joke. Come on, Katie. You should know me better than that. This mistake was the catalyst for me dumping his bozo ass a few weeks later. To which he replied, everything was fine until you told your girlfriends and your therapist about this. And by the way, your therapist telling you that what I said was undoing all the self-worth work you've done these past few months is unethical. I have serious concerns about her ethics from her telling you that. This worries me for you. He said this to me in a letter that he FedExed to my apartment. Since I had blocked him on everything else. I would have rather he sent me anthrax. And it's why he's now saved in my phone as my FedEx. My medical symptoms actually drastically improved without the anxiety he caused sapping my life force. So did my self-worth, which burgeoned into self-love, which bloomed into a self-power so indomitable that I can look back at these damaging men and hold the shattered woman who loved them so tightly. I can cradle her shame as it whispers trembling fears of not enough and too much. And I can heal the calamity of self that clung to whatever she was given. Because if all she has known is conditional love, how could she find any different? Love fed on fear is the soul killer. These men will make you tear your beating, bleeding heart from your chest and thrust it again and again before eyes glazed over with indifference. And every time, a little more blood is lost, until you're dizzy and sick and you see only ghosts in the mirror. I love myself as hard as I can, so every almost holy iteration of me across this grueling life knows that finally I am listening, that I will protect them, that never again must they hide their human edges to be loved. Monet at a distance is a masterpiece, but to draw close and sink your fingers into the swirling colors is to know that every brushstroke gleams because of those that came before it. It's not flaws, baby. It's just texture. Love does not make you feel or become smaller. Love is not scared. Love does not ignore. It fills, it grows, and it brings you further home to yourself. Or it is a knife that will find you again and again because you already know the pain of its cutting. We cling to the blades we know. There is so much peace in wielding power alone. So I turn that blade to till the soil of my spirit so that pain can nourish the roots of greater things. In this way, it has all been worth it. Fertilizer is just bullshit after all. And for all its staggering, it grew me softer, sweeter, and wise enough to finally own my worth. Because, in the words of a man who even Viagra couldn't help, I am never doing that again.